It's the Three Guys Talking Ball podcast. I tried it again. I got it. It was a lot better than the first time, so still could use some work, and who knows? That's why it's, you just got to be peaking at the right time here. And you know what? Last week was terrible. This week was better. Next week's going to be even better here on the Three Guys Talking Ball podcast. We have reached episode 124 here. Second week of the tournament. Final four on the line here. Sweet 16, Elite 8. Got a couple of more different things to talk before we get into the NCAA tournament, such as Michigan has hired Dusty May as their new head basketball coach. The NFL has decided to ban the hip drop tackle, which is causing quite a stir and one of the dumber rule changes in the NFL, if you ask me. Should John Calipari be fired? And did the Dodgers take a gamble on Shohei Ohtani?
I see what you did there.
Yeah. So, well, I guess since we started there, let's just get into it. It was reported that Shohei Ohtani's translator was let go by the Dodgers for allegedly gambling. It was Shohei gave him $4.5 million out of his account, and in the press conference today, it was reported that Shohei said that he was stealing money from him here. So I don't know. Something sounds fishy, guys. I don't know. I don't want to. It kind of sounds like Shohei as Pete Rose.
I think he's
of
a
our
coward.
generation.
Can't even face the media. Has to put a statement out after he said he was going to talk to the media. Like, come on, man. Like, face the music.
Especially after now, you're the face of baseball. Like, this game is, I don't know if it's losing popularity, gaining popularity each year, but it's not the sport that people in America love the most. You're supposed to be the best player we've seen since Babe Ruth. Go out there and, like Ethan said, face the music. Face the critics. Answer these tough questions. Prove you're innocent and not just show that you have a fall guy. I mean, come on, what are we doing here?
Well, I think the MLB knows a lot more than they're letting on, and I bet you they're going to try and save face because he is the face of baseball. He's playing for one of the most popular teams in the MLB. I think that they don't want to kick him out. I think he's their one saving grace. He finally is playing for a relevant franchise, and they don't want to deal with this. And I think it's also being hidden by the fact that he doesn't speak any English, so it's easy for him to deflect, and not take questions. And we have a cowardice media where they're not going to press him very toughly on these questions.
Well, he's got to meet with them to press him.
Well, yeah, and if the MLB truly does know something about this, and they're not doing anything about it, I want Pete Rose back in baseball.
Did you see he got did you see somebody interviewed him after there? I don't even know if I would consider it an interview, but it was some guy with a phone and had a selfie next to Pete Rose and asked him what he thought. He said, "Man, I wish I would have had a translator back in the 70s and the 80s."
Yeah,
that's good. Yeah, Pete Rose belongs in baseball, and especially in the world we live in today, where every
Barry Bonds
sport
belongs in the Hall of Fame.
Yes, baseball was better in the 90s when everyone was using steroids. You cannot
playing field.
You cannot convince me otherwise. The summer of McGuire and Sosa, where they're jacking 60 home runs, you're telling me people love that. I don't care about your 97 velocity coming out of the bullpen. I want to see balls hit 450 feet.
I think
Not only do chicks dig the long ball, but Grant digs the long ball. Damn it!
Can you imagine if they had StatCast back then? Some of those McGuire home runs easily went 500 feet.
Oh, easily.
Like, how many times did he put it past the Big Mac sign in left field?
All of the time.
Too many times to count.
Different breed.
Well, yeah,
we'll see whatever
anabolic
else
steroids will do for you.
That's right. I guess we'll see what comes out of this, but moving along here, trying to keep this show rolling here. But Michigan, it was announced over the weekend, they have hired Florida Atlantic head coach Dusty May, who is coming off a Final Four appearance. A little bit of a disappointing season of sorts this year, but still managed to get FAU, who is basically a doormat, was not a relevant basketball school by any stretch of the imagination. Got them to back-to-back NCAA tournament appearances. The big thing with Dusty May is he needs to reestablish the culture that was there under when John Beilein was there. I'm not saying he has to go out and try to be John Beilein. He needs to be the best version of himself. He doesn't have to try to be somebody else. He's just got to go out there. He's got to reestablish the culture. He needs to rebuild a roster that is not talented at all. I think there was a lot of issues under Juwan Howard as far as, well, in-game adjustments were terrible. The coaching is roster management. He did not do a very good job of that. His really only success he had was when he had veteran leaders on his team that were Beilein carryovers. The rest was he tried to do the John Calipari approach of trying to get the best recruits that he could and the one-and-done guys, and it never worked out. He was never able to mold them into one cohesive unit and get them playing all together. And I think if Dusty May is able to do that, I think he's going to have resources. I've seen that there's already a push to get more bigger push with the NIL collective, which isn't Michigan's strategy, nor should it be, is to pay guys the most. Is you want guys that want to be at the University of Michigan because they want to be Michigan Wolverines, not because they are offering the highest dollar amount. But the roster is not great right now. There's 3 or 4 guys that are already in the transfer portal. We'll see if he's going to be able to bring a couple of them back. I think it would be nice to see a guy like a Doug McDaniel come back, who is a good point guard, who is going to be in his 3rd year at Michigan. Experienced point guard. That too. Get a guy to show up to class and pass his classes. Good point. But I'm cautiously optimistic about the hire. So we'll see. Watch his press conference and see what he's able to do for the rest of work once he fully gets into work here. But the
you know how much money you'd have to pay me to leave Boca Raton, Florida, to move to Ann Arbor, Michigan? I don't care if it's Michigan and it's a Big Ten job, this and that. Hell, I don't care if Kentucky offered him that job at a blue blood there. I live in one of the best cities in America. Why would I want to leave this?
Well, it's the same way. Why would Lane Kiffin want to leave Boca Raton for Oxford, Mississippi?
Because he's a fool.
Seems working.
Well, okay, football wise, I get it, but basketball wise, it's like there's got to be a bunch of good talent in the state of Florida. Just stay down there, and then in the world of the transfer portal we live in, you bring those guys down to the beach and those campus with how many clothes women aren't wearing down in Boca. Hell, I'd stay there. You get a nice tan year round. You're going to have awesome seafood, great weather. It's Boca. Who knows? You might see Zac Efron and Robert De Niro there. I don't know.
That's right. They were in Daytona Beach. They weren't in Boca.
No, they were at Daytona Beach. Yeah, they said they were going to go to Boca to play around the golf, but I mean, my God. I mean, maybe it's just because we had a bunch of snow these last couple days, but
that
I don't know
might be it.
If I ever got to Boca, I don't think I'd ever leave.
Dusty May isn't in his 80s yet, so he's still fairly young. So he still wants that young. Still needs that cold weather to keep him motivated in the morning to get back down there. So maybe that's what that is. But the NFL was they announced today that they are banning the hip drop tackle, which is going to be just absolute abysmal. Like, how do you enforce it? And the calling that, I feel bad for the officials, like trying to enforce that, because it happened so fast. And you might as well, like JJ Watt said, we might as well just throw flags, put flags around the guy's waist.
How do you tackle? I just don't understand.
You don't tackle. The NFL is in bed with DraftKings and fantasy football and gambling. They don't want you to play defense anymore.
The way you're supposed to tackle is when in
You don't
that episode of Blue Mountain State where Thad Castle comes back and he's like been meditating and he's more relaxed, and the running back goes through the hole, and instead of just knocking his face off, he just picks him up and then lays him down. That's how you're supposed to tackle now.
The NFL, they're so hypocritical. They want to talk about the player safety initiative, and we're just trying to, look out for these players in their future when they're done playing, when they're in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, and all these rules they're enforcing. But they don't listen to the players. What are the players? Their biggest thing is we can't play on short weeks, going from Sunday to Thursday. It's like you're in a small car accident, and I don't care. I'm on the player side here when it comes to this artificial turf. If you're playing on top of concrete, you get rid of it. They want to talk about player safety, but the things the players say that they can't have, and let's add an extra game.
They're going to add another one too on top of it.
They want to
go to 18.
That's what I'm saying. So soon you're going to have these poor players in Carolina who are 2-14. And you're telling them they got to sit back and get ready for two more regular season games. But we're also going to promote player safety where our defense isn't allowed to tackle. And then we're going to have to play in this hard artificial turf where it hurts your joints. Like going forward, and you have players like Julian Edelman say, I couldn't play anymore because of the damage this did on my body, and then I couldn't practice. It's so hypocritical out of the NFL. I can't stand it. And they're going to continue to water down the product because everyone's going to be hurt and no one's going to be healthy, and it's going to be horrible to watch. I just don't get it. Just go back to the 16 games, stop playing all over the goddamn world, and play on Mondays and Sundays.
Well said. Well said. And let's keep moving here. Before we get into the NCAA or the March Madness, the first and second round recaps here, we're gonna start the show a little bit early. I'm gonna give you guys a curveball of the week that is sports related here. So, fellas, March is known for madness. It's known for some incredible games, some tremendous memories. So I want to know, what is your favorite March Madness memory?
I gotta say, I was a kid. I was in St. Ed's still down in Fort Dodge, and I didn't like Iowa at the time. I would go back and forth between Iowa State, and Iowa was playing as I want to say they were like there was like Mark Bruner. I can't remember who else there was on that team, but they were either a 2 or 3 seed. They were super high, and I want to say they were a 3 seed and lost to Northwestern State, if I remember correctly. And half we were all watching it in the cafeteria. Half the school was just freaking out, happy. The other half was just absolutely devastated. And the fact that there weren't fists thrown was pretty amazing. Like, I was impressed, but that was probably my favorite upset, actually.
Okay.
I think you got to continue on the upset line here. And when Florida Gulf Coast guys put on a show that first weekend when they beat Georgetown and San Diego State, was it?
Dunk City.
Yeah, Dunk City. The team just coming off of Fort Myers Beach. The school was around for 5 years before this. They barely had a program.
Grand Canyon.
Yeah, the old Grand Canyon. Their head coach, after a good 2-game stretch, gets a job at USC. If I'm not mistaken, I think they got trounced in the Sweet 16. But that is just that is what March is. We call it March Madness. A school who has only been around for less than 5 years. They have Dunk City. Their coach gets a job at a Power 5 program in the second biggest city in this country, and they just took the country by storm. I mean, how can you not love Florida Gulf Coast? And then also, from some friends I have who live down in Florida, hearing how wild that campus is, and probably how the campus should have been shut down for some of the activities and some things they had to do to stop some of those activities. It's crazy. So give me Florida Gulf Coast, man. That was wild that weekend.
Yeah, that is also a good one. That brings up some that year brings some good
Dylan,
memories up as well.
Hey, Dylan, another one. Us three were all living together. The championship game that year was Carolina Villanova. You know, Villanova goes down, hits the three. Jenkins hits the three to win the championship. I remember Ethan standing up, takes his arm, goes, "Let's go!" And then after that, he goes right to bed. He doesn't say anything else. He just disappeared. But Villanova wins the championship on a walk-off. It's utter madness. I'm like, holy shit, what just happened? Dylan's like, oh my God, what happened? Ethan stands up, "Let's go!" It goes right to bed. Doesn't say anything else.
That's right. And you and I just look at each other like he just shuts the door. He's like, "Oh, all right, good night, Ethan." You blacked out. It happens. Sometimes exciting things like that. It happens. It's
awesome.
You know, he didn't have time for the net cutting ceremony or one shining moment. Ethan, he had to go right to bed.
I was pretty tired, I guess.
Yeah.
Some things don't change.
That was pretty fun. That was funny.
There were some good memories in that. Well, some sports-related sad memories too of the Blair Walsh miss, where we were all felt like we were a part of the team, where we were all on one knee with our arms locked, and then he misses it, and we all just fall to the ground limp.
Connor almost jumped off the deck.
Yeah, he was pretty suicidal.
And then Dylan, that was the infamous Thursday night game.
The
Kansas City Denver
that's right,
game.
the Kansas City, the Jamal Charles fumble.
Yep. And I also, you know, that game, that last drive when Denver got that touchdown to tie the game. I'm telling both of you, they just paid Justin Houston. This defense has to make a play. They got to make a play, and they can't do it. And, you know, I just thought of this now, Dylan. This is another stupid memory, but, you know, Dallas had a bad year that year. Romo broke his collarbone, twice? Remember the Monday night game against Washington where Matt Castle looked like 08 Matt Castle and threw that ridiculous touchdown in the corner and at the time beat the Redskins? You were just losing your mind because
just the one bright spot. And then week one when they came back with like no timeouts and 30 seconds left to beat the Giants on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah. So now these aren't March Madness memories, but it's just, like I said,
it's
a lot
good
of
to
craziness
reflect
at that
and
apartment.
Look back on our short time we all lived together.
Mm-hmm.
But 1 year. That's crazy to think that was 8 years ago too.
That's nuts.
Almost 9.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And,
9 years in like September.
It'll be, yeah. But favorite March Madness memory. There's a few that go down that I could go by here, but I could say the 2013 Trey Burke shot against Kansas, but the problem was I didn't get to see that because it was Good Friday and we had Good Friday Mass. So I got to watch the first half, and then we leave, and we're sitting in church, and I get out, I check my phone, and I'm like looking at it like OT. I think Michigan won by like 3, and I'm like trying to like look, and I'm like, for some reason I couldn't read. Well, probably not.
You still can't.
For some
you
reason,
still
I'm
can't.
stupid. Yeah, still can't read.
Still doesn't count.
And I'm like, and then I had a buddy text me. He's like, "Oh my gosh, that was the most insane game ever." I'm like, "What happened?" And then I go onto Twitter and I see Trey Burke hit the shot, and it was like, "Wait, they won! Oh my, holy crap, they won! Let's go!" And then they destroy Florida, and then they beat Syracuse. But you know, I think there's 2 that really stick out in my mind here, Grant. And first one happened in 2014 when NDSU beat Oklahoma in overtime. One of the felt like it was over. Lawrence Alexander hits a deep three to tie the game. The game goes to overtime. NDSU handles them in overtime, gets the first win NCAA tournament win in program history. Something South Dakota State is still looking for, might I add here. But that game, or a game that I don't know if we've ever told this story on the podcast. We've told this to other people here, but it's 2018. Grant and I, I was visiting you guys on spring break. Grant and I, we went and watched the NCHC hockey tournament that day. And after the tournament gets out, you and I were walking to the bar. We're going to go watch the rest of some March Madness games. And it's Michigan is playing Houston in a second round game.
And it's St. Patrick's Day.
On St. Patrick's Day.
Where was
And
this at?
this was in St. Paul.
Okay.
St. Paul.
And it was very nerve-wracking. Houston couldn't make their free throws. Michigan is down by 2, and they call a timeout. And it was like still wasn't feeling good because there wasn't a lot of time left. There was going to have to be a perfect play drawn up, perfect flawless execution. And what happens is they inbound the ball, throws it to Muhammad Ali Abdur-Rahman. Rahman throws it over to Jordan Poole, catches it from about 3 feet behind the NBA three-point line. Splash. Grant and I lock arms. I jump into him, and I'm pretty sure I wrap my legs around him, and we start hugging each other. Just a special moment. I felt like Jim Valvano when he won the NCAA tournament, looking around for somebody to hug. And just suddenly Grant is right there, my day one rider. Both of us were Michigan fans. Everybody else was looking at us like we were weird. We didn't care because Michigan won and they were going to the Sweet 16.
Fair.
Oh God, I remember that. And after that, I think Dylan, you were so excited you may have gotten 4 egg bombs.
Probably sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that was funny. I will remember that until the day I die. That's funny.
So to flip it, then, guys, what is your saddest March Madness memory? Heartbreaking.
Man, that's tough.
I don't know if I have a real heartbreaking moment where I was truly devastated.
Iowa versus Richmond in 2022.
Well, so I was thinking about that, and actually, I was helping Caleb move that day, so I'm actually trying to follow that game. We're in Tennessee, and of course, there's no cell service because we're going up and down in all the mountains and the foothills. And by the time we get to Chattanooga and stop for some food, I have cell service. And then I look at the score and I look at the box score and I was like, yeah, these guys are going to lose. To win in 4 games in 4 days in the Big Ten tournaments doesn't mean anything right now because they're going to lose to, was it a 12 seed? Was it a 5-12 game? I can't.
Mm-hmm.
It's either a 5-12 or 4-13.
I'm pretty sure it was a 5-12 because I think both you and I had Iowa going to the Final Four.
yeah, I think so because they got hot. And then, just kind of they couldn't make a shot in that game. Also, I think the championship game that year was kind of a tough one too. More or less, I just kind of felt bad for Alec because Carolina was up by 15 at halftime. They just slayed the Duke Dragon, and you're thinking, holy shit, Hubert's first year, they're going to win the national title. And then, Kansas had to come back, and it just wasn't Carolina's night that night.
But they killed Coach K, so that's basically winning the national title.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think. Was it 2017? Or no, it wasn't that long ago. 2019 when the Gophers lost to Middle Tennessee State?
That would have been 17 when they lost to Middle Tennessee. Yeah.
Jeez, that's
because 19 they beat Louisville and lost to Michigan State. I think if memory serves.
Yeah.
No, that's right because it was the Patino Bowl.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it must have been 2017 then. But no, that was a hell of a good run. They beat Michigan State in the quarters, honestly, if Akeem Springs doesn't blow his Achilles out, they probably beat Michigan. I think is who it was in the semifinals. I think they lost.
Yep, because Michigan won that year.
And then Middle Tennessee State was not a 12. That was one of the worst seedings they've had in a long time. They were phenomenal. I think did they go to the Sweet 16 or did they lose to San Diego State?
I think they beat San Diego State that year.
Yeah, because the year before they were a 15 seed and beat Michigan State in the first round.
Yeah, so like they were not a 12, like BS. But that team was so good. Reggie Lynch, Murphy, Coffey, like that was a high caliber team that honestly probably underachieved with Richard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they weren't top 10. They were top 15 a couple times.
Yeah, they were. That was a really good team and basically a do or die year for Pitino, which basically saved his job. If he didn't have a good year, he was probably gone.
Mm-hmm.
But saddest memory is probably the 2013 national championship game against Louisville. They fought all the way back. They fought there. They were up big at halftime. Trey Burke had 2 fouls and didn't play. And one of the questionable coaching decisions is not putting him back in as Louisville made a run to kind of close that gap. And then the Trey Burke block that was clean.
Peyton Siva.
Yeah, I know.
Your favorite line,
It's a great line until it's used against you. So
true.
Well, yeah, to your point, Dylan, Kansas got Samford got Trey Burke this weekend.
They did.
Yeah.
They absolutely did. That was and I think the only reason they called that a foul was because of the way he landed. If he lands normal, it's a no call. But the fact that he just landed awkwardly, they had felt that they had to call a foul.
They had to call it. And when I saw, let's be honest, when you see that shit live, there's no way you don't call a foul, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's a tough call. Like, it's easy to watch it in slow motion, but
in my eyes, in the last 2 minutes of a game like that, you should be able to review that, and then it's Sanford's ball underneath the basket.
Yeah.
That's just me.
But those are two my saddest moments here, and then let's get into into recapping here the first weekend of the NCAA tournament. There were a couple of upsets, but for the most part, it's been mostly chalk, with the exception of Kentucky losing to Oakland. Trying to think here of some other games that were. Yep, St. Mary's losing to Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon would have. Auburn losing to Yale. I did not get a single 8-9 matchup correct in picking the winners. Didn't get a single one.
I haven't looked at it because I know it's so bad. What's the point of just depressing myself?
Now at this point, I just hope I beat you two assholes.
It's not hard to beat me at this point. Half my Final Four is gone, so.
Well, yeah, and Ethan, when I was looking at your bracket, I was like, either this dude is going to be a genius, or he's going to fall, apart early.
Yep.
He's adopted the method, the baseball strategy now is home run or strikeout.
Yeah.
And he's right now he's in a bit of a slump.
Percentage. We like a nice big slug.
Yep. But
same
thing for me though is
lost. I picked it, and that's really what matters, and what we probably should only focus on that one game, because the Kentucky game doesn't matter, the St. Mary's game doesn't matter. It's fine.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. You had St. Mary's going to the Final Four too.
Yep.
Oof. It's a good thing Alabama took care of them, because I do have a Grand Canyon shirt that I bought when we golfed their golf course, and if Grand Canyon would have won, I would have been wearing that shirt tonight.
Actually, my buddy that lives downstairs actually played soccer at Grand Canyon, so we were watching the game. Was that Saturday night? Yeah.
Sunday night.
Sunday night.
Grand Canyon, Alabama was last night.
Yeah.
But
so, dude, like, what the hell is Grand Canyon's school nickname?
The Antelopes.
They basically, so it's privately funded. They just randomly gave like A bunch of people donated $3.2 billion, built the campus. It's 3 hours from the Grand Canyon, and there's not even antelopes there. So
Yeah, I was going to say.
it's
There-
like
There
biggest
is a
lot
coyote
of
on the golf
school.
course, though.
They do have a hell of a nice golf course.
Well, it's Arizona. Of
It's
course,
actually
there's going to be a
nice.
coyote on the golf course. But like, I kept looking at their jerseys and it said Lopes, and I was like, what the hell is this?
They're an antelope, but they don't have antelopes in Arizona.
Or this continent?
It's actually a super.
There's
school.
antelopes on this continent.
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm thinking the Serengeti. Never mind.
Where are there antelopes in this continent?
In North
There's
Dakota.
There's a specific kind of antelope, like
Oh, fuck off.
where if you dial it in. But to my point, when everyone thinks antelope, they think getting killed by a lion in the Serengeti.
Yeah, that's the only one I think of. I don't believe in North.
That's a jackalope.
No, shut up. They were one of the only for a bit. I think they changed it now, but they're basically a for-profit school, which is pretty
nice.
effed up. So yeah, there's not a lot of people that don't like them.
I just appreciate the fact that they're at least not lying to us.
Oh yeah, they're straight up saying like, "Hey, we're pocketing this shit."
Like everyone else in public education in this country, they're lying to us. Grand Canyon is not lying.
They're like, "Hey, nope. That online money,
They-
yeah, it's going right in my pocket."
I want to say the old Suns owner is a big donor to that school. I think that's where they got a good chunk of their money.
Was he like the
3.2
racist or the fascist or hated women? What was that Suns owner scandal again?
Oh, I can't remember here.
Who did
But-
he apparently dislike?
Or
Or was it a toxic workplace? Something like that? I don't know.
yeah, I think it was something like that. Let's see here.
Oh my God, Iowa might lose to West Virginia.
I know this is getting close.
Yeah, you can tell this. You can tell this team is not a national championship caliber team.
Well, they also they are not used to the press like this. They are literally it's
That
like
is
Bob
true.
Huggins' team but female.
Yeah, maybe this West Virginia coach is pretty good. I mean, it's his third job I saw.
Yeah.
And as you can tell, I've watched about 29 minutes of West Virginia women's basketball this year.
They are very elite.
Yes, they are.
It's no different than the men's team. When you play West Virginia, it's a long weekend with your in-laws, according to John Rothstein.
He's got some classics,
He has some
John
good
Rothstein.
shit. Yeah, he's good.
But anyways, we're not gonna recap every game from the first weekend in the tournament. Instead, to kind of speed the process up a little bit, we're gonna throw it back to the football days. We're gonna each pick our game of the weekend here. Now we can't steal each other's, but we are gonna go old school style, and we're gonna pick
Third again.
out of the hat. So
Nice.
we have the for Grant Super Bowl champion Chiefs. For me, I fumbled it. Super Bowl or the 5-time Super Bowl champion Dallas Cowboys.
Okay,
Oh,
And
first
Ethan's
of
favorite-
all, God.
off.
Ethan's favorite team, the Cowboy or the Minnesota Vikings. And I can't.
Jesus.
You
Jesus
saw
Christ.
the last time they
He
won.
goes to the freaking History Channel and says the 5-time champion Dallas Cowboys.
I've even seen him win a
And you know what? I'm not even going to use that one because I dropped it and I can't reach it. So
Well,
I'm going to go with the 7-time champion, the New England Patriots here. That'll be
It's
me.
hey, dumbass! It's 6-time. Take your mouth
Six-
off Tom Brady's
Yeah,
cock.
whatever.
Brady has the 7 titles. Dude, this guy's got the nerve to bring up Dallas's history when the Detroit Lions went 0-16 and made a conference championship before your Cowboys did.
Don't change the subject. We're not talking about football anymore. We're talking about basketball.
I'm
So,
talking about teams' helmets.
The first pick is going to be Ethan.
Even
at that.
finally won one.
I win.
And
Loser.
then since I'm petty and I'm gonna rig this, and Grant decides
Shocking.
to try to dump on my team, I'm
And
going
that's why I
second.
lost so many times.
And
Unbelievable.
Grant, you're third because you've won enough. So
People
You-
in this
you go
country hate
last.
winners. People in this country hate winners.
that's right. That's right. So Ethan, What is your game of the weekend here in the 2024 opening round?
We are definitely a big nerd fan. We are going Yale Auburn. That was a phenomenal game. The refs absolutely tried to hand it to Auburn at the end, but yet they still couldn't figure it out. Danny Wolf is a American legend. We recruited him for a while, but he wanted to go be a nerd. So congratulations to Danny. But they were just a good team. They truly were. They were balanced, a lot of shooters, and they were able to slow Auburn down just enough to win it.
And they were able to keep them off the boards and keep that final layup. Auburn could not make a layup as many good looks as they had, and able to keep them off and get a 13-4 win, which should have happened in the Kansas-Sanford game. But
who did they lose to in the second round?
Who, Yale?
They lost to San Diego State.
San Diego State. I didn't watch that one.
The real SDSU. That's because the game started at like 9:00 your time, which is also something that I'm going to rant about. Is I think I ranted about this last year, but why do they only have like one game in the first two slots? They should have two games going, and then that final game be starting at like 7 or 8 o'clock Central Time. None of this 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern, because it's too late. You've already watched 35 hours of basketball from Thursday to Sunday. Let us have the night off. Let the game be over at like 8 or 9. You get like an hour to wind down before, and then it's like 11 o'clock. Oh, time to go to sleep.
Well, and also to your point, why would anyone turn on Yale San Diego State when the A&M Houston game was going on?
Mm-hmm.
And then they have the ticker on, and you can look, and it's like, oh, San Diego State's blowing the doors off them.
Yeah.
But I guess, Grant, that actually, good thing you brought that game up, because that was actually going to be my game of the week here. The lovely city of Houston versus Texas A&M, the Colt. And don't you give me that look there, buddy. Don't you give me that look here don't you be dogging our wonderful city of Houston, okay? Houston loses 4 of 5 starters. They were in foul trouble the whole game. Felt like they had the game locked up, and then Texas A&M goes on a 13-3 run, ties the game, goes into overtime. Houston continues to lose players, and they just had guys step up. The white dude who, of course, made his free throws, whose name is escaping me. Is it like Gelvin?
I think it's Galvin.
And they found a way to grit it out. Texas A&M finally, something that we were waiting on all year, a team, I had picked to be in my Final Four, was because I thought they were experienced enough, and it didn't click until now. Frankly, I think if they play maybe any other team other than like Houston, UConn, any of the 1 seeds, I think I would take Texas A&M in any of those matchups, but got to take care of business in the before that, and that's what happens. Is
they missed 14 foul shots.
Yeah.
What are we doing, guys? I mean, hell, if they make 17, they win the game.
That's why it's important. That's why we said make your free throws, but they didn't. Grant, what do you have for your game of the week?
Well, like I said earlier, when we were talking baseball, I said chicks dig the long ball, and so do I. Well, I like a high-scoring basketball game in the tournament. How about Florida, Colorado?
Hey, we watched that at Hy-Vee.
We did, yeah, at the old Wahlburgers there. Good food, by the way, Ethan. You were right. That they do it right.
You guys have a Wahlburgers in your Hy-Vee?
It's good food.
Yeah, we went to the one.
I like Wahlburgers.
We went to the one in Shakopee. We were at Ethan's place. Went there. Got a patty melt with a blue moon. It was fantastic.
Can't beat a good patty melt.
No, and some tater tots on the side. Life was good. But yeah, Colorado, Florida. Just kind of watching that whole game. Colorado coming off a tough emotional win Wednesday in the first 4 against Boise. Florida, people are thinking they're hot. They just won the SEC tournament. They were going back and forth. Teams were making shots when they needed to make a shot. And then, was it Sampson? Colorado's best player. He does his best Kawhi Leonard. That ball hit every part of the rim before it went in to seal the game winner. 102-100, a good old 10-7 upset. That's why people love the tournament. And that game was wildly entertaining, and that's why it was my game of the weekend.
Yeah, you can't go wrong. That one, I had the game on a different channel, and I was kind of following it, and I was trying, and it was one of those points where I couldn't find the remote. So I wasn't able to go watch the end of it, and by the time I went to go try to get it, it was already over. I already saw Colorado won, but because I think at the same, in a matter of like a couple of minutes of each other, Yale upset Auburn and Colorado upset Florida.
Yeah, probably within 5 minutes of each other.
5 minutes of each other, yeah.
That's the beauty of this tournament, is you're just stacking moments on top of moments. But that, that one, some other good ones that, didn't make the list was obviously Oakland, Kentucky. And I think we all kind of had the hunch, and maybe this is the three guys talking ball curse here, is talking about if Calipari can get Kentucky to buy in to defend for 6 games, they probably will win the tournament. But I think, Ethan, you and we all had the idea that it was like, yeah, Kentucky's going to be lucky if they can escape this one. After Oakland got hot from 3, Jack Golke scored 30 points, and it was like, yeah, okay, this Kentucky team is this is why we should not be picking Kentucky to go far again. You can add this to the list of the Gonzagas, the Tennessees, of the Purdue's.
Any team coached by Shaka Smart.
Any team coached by Shaka Smart, which we'll give the guy his flowers. He made it to the second weekend of the tournament here.
First time since what, 2011?
Yep, since he went on that Final Four run. So, but now let's go to the to previewing the Sweet 16 Elite 8 games here, picking winners. So, I don't have the dates in front of me, so we'll just go like we did the last time is with the go to the East, then the West, South, Midwest, pick our winners from there. So, guys, we've got UConn San Diego State in a rematch of the last year's national title game. UConn still playing at an incredibly different level here. They won by 20 points again, over 20. Or maybe it was less. They were up by 20 basically the whole game, and Dan Hurley is still pissed at them. And they're going to keep, with that intensity, that's going to keep going. I don't see any way UConn loses this game. I think San Diego State, they're going to come out hungry. I think they maybe give UConn a game for about a half, but in the end, UConn, they're like that boa constrictor. They're just going to suck the life out of you, and they're just going to wear on you, and you're just going to run out of energy, run out of juice. And I don't think San Diego's. I think it's a very similar result to last year's national title game. UConn rolls on, and then in the other regional semifinal in the East is Illinois versus Iowa State. Very interesting game here, I think. Iowa State's defense versus Illinois and Terrence Shannon. This is going to be another wild game. Neither game that Iowa State played didn't really watch a whole lot of, just because the game was Iowa State controlled it for most. Washington State kept it as close as they could, but every time Washington State got it to making Cyclone fans a little bit uneasy, they always found a way to kind of land that knockout punch to kind of extend that lead, to give them a little bit more of a cushion. Does Iowa State have enough defense to stop Terrence Shannon? I'm not sure. Is Illinois, are they going to be able to continue their hot shooting that they've had? In the end, I think this comes down to who has the better player, and that's Illinois and Terrence Shannon. So I like the Illini to advance to set up UConn versus Illinois in the Elite 8.
this is really the only good part of my bracket. I got 3 of these 4 teams, so go me. Woo! But unless San Diego State shoots it like they did versus Yale at an almost 50% clip from 3, limit the UConn offensive rebounding to, I don't know, 8 or less, I don't think there's a chance they win this game. I think they shot 48%, and then they only allowed 5 offensive rebounds to Yale, which Auburn gave up a crap ton of offensive rebounds and kickouts to Yale. Probably one of the main reasons they lost. But no, I just don't think they're going to beat UConn. I don't think they have enough scoring. They'll be able to slow them down better than any team that UConn has faced so far, but I just don't think they're going to be able to keep up still. Illinois, Iowa State, probably my game of the week. Very different styles, to say the least. Illinois wants to get it. They want to run out. They want to get you in transition. Iowa State likes transition, but they are more slow the pace down, run their methodical offense, and then try to get open looks off of that. They do run, like I said, they run on their chances, but it's not their main game, kind of like Illinois. I still will say Terrence Shannon is the best player in this tournament. He probably shouldn't be playing. Doesn't matter. He's playing. So at this point, it is what it is. Funny that his arraigning, or whatever you want to call it, is right after
Arraignment
madness ends. Shocking how they worked that out. But no, I just think they're too good. I think the 3-headed monster of Damask, Shannon, and Hawkins is just too good. Too many shooters that I don't even think I don't know how Iowa State's going to match up with them, because they're all like 6'6" or taller and athletic as shit. Like, Iowa State's probably one of the top 3 best defensive teams in the country, and I still don't think they have enough to match up with Illinois.
Yeah, well, and back to the UConn San Diego State game is I don't think Dan Hurley allows offensive rebounds, and if you do, I think you have to run in the snow and try to go. You have to run in the snow in Connecticut. So I just don't see a path for San Diego State to win. Just don't. But
Grant, I don't know if you just saw that call in the West Virginia Iowa game. Holy shit, that might be the worst call I've ever seen. Like
the charge here.
Yeah, that's just terrible. Foot's not even on the ground.
Well, I'm gonna check this replay here. All right, Gabby, what are we?
Right
What are we?
foot is literally in the air.
Oh boy! Oh boy!
Wow, that is awful. And that would have tied it, right?
That's an offensive foul.
Because it was 48.
No, it would have been
43.
It would have been 48-45.
Okay.
If she got that layup.
Man, that is awful.
Was that not an offensive foul just there, Ethan?
I didn't see that one.
All right, well, never mind.
The whistle's been very pro Iowa this half. It's been bad.
Well, the NCAA got me.
Their West Virginia's coach was like face to face with one of the refs going at her.
Well, the NCAA got in these officials' ears and said, we need her for at least one more game.
Or else the tournament's shot.
Correct. Yeah, nobody cares about South Carolina, even though they're undefeated. But I'm gonna piggyback right where Ethan you left off. The Illinois team, I think they're too good for Iowa State. They're too skilled. And I understand it. In football we say, hey, defense wins championships. But for me, in college and basketball in general, good offense always beats good defense. And I don't think Iowa State has enough offense to combat what Illinois has to offer. And I think Illinois might be maybe playing the second best of any basketball for any team left in this tournament behind UConn. So I like the Illini to advance. And, Dylan, I'm with you. I think this UConn-San Diego State game, I think it's the easiest game of the weekend to pick. I just don't see San Diego State having much of a chance at all. They didn't have any offense in that title game last year. What makes me think 11 months and 3 weeks later that's going to change to beat this UConn team? UConn had a bad second half against Northwestern and still put up 78 points in that game. Huskies easily win this game.
And then in the Elite Eight matchup here, we've got UConn versus Illinois. I think all 3 of us actually had this in our brackets, and I've said UConn is the best team. I think they are going to, they can beat you in a multitude of ways. and they've proved why they're the number 1 overall seed all year. I think Terrence Shannon has a good game, but I think the key here is for UConn is to not let those other 2 scorers that they have is to let them go off, because then you're going to run into problems. If they're able to keep 2 of those guys down, I think UConn's going to in similar fashion just suffocate you. They're going to end up pulling away, and nothing phases them. Nothing phases them. They get hit in the mouth, and then they just punch back harder. I think UConn finds their way back to the Final Four again.
I picked Illinois beginning of the tournament. It's I can't turn back on them now. I'm rolling with the offense. This is going to be like a 110 to 100 game. Like, it's going to be nuts. The amount of points put up in this one. So screw it. We're rolling with the Illini, even though Champaign is a shitty town.
Oh, yeah, I will second that. That the town's a whole.
Yeah.
Really, the whole state of Illinois sucks. If we could somehow take that out of our union, I'd be more than happy with that, because it's a shitty state, a shitty city. And with that being said, I think they have the worst coach in this game. Dan Hurley, give me him over Brad Underwood. I think in the Elite Eight, coaching matters. He's going to make a couple adjustments that Underwood doesn't. So give me UConn. Like Ethan said, he's got the Illini winning it all. Well, I got UConn, so give me the Huskies.
Yeah, Dan Hurley, born January 16th. Coincidence that he shares a birthday with me? I don't think so. So let's go down to the West here. We've got UNC versus Alabama. Get your track shoes on, because this is going to be a high-scoring affair. This is going to be back and forth. See who can get. You talk about another game that's going to be a race to 100. I think look at UNC Alabama, and UNC, after being a little bit coming out sluggish in that first about 10 minutes or so, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they just start coming, and they find themselves up by 12, and Michigan State got it close, but in the end, UNC just kind of kept pulling away there. I think this is a game, both teams have had shown flashes of not great defenses, but in the end, in this game, I think Carolina is willing and wants to play defense a little bit more than Alabama does. So I like the Tar Heels to advance to the Elite Eight. And in the other regional Sweet 16 matchup in the West is Arizona versus Clemson, a team that I don't think anybody even had picking to win a game, have found themselves in the Sweet 16. And Arizona has been very streaky. I think with a week to prepare, I think they're going to come out. I think they're going to be ready to go. I like
playing a home game,
and basically playing a home game. I like Arizona to advance and set up the matchup we all want is Carolina versus Arizona and Caleb Love versus RJ Davis.
Yeah, Alabama hasn't looked very good through 2 games. I'm not gonna lie; they've kind of snuck by, but they have not looked like they put up a lot of points. But yeah, that defense is rough. I think North Carolina honestly rolls right through them. Not going to be much of a contest. Michigan State was a much stiffer test for them. Who does Arizona play again? I'm trying to even think now. Clemson, that's right. Yeah, the surprise to me. They look like shit in their one ACC tournament game. But they were kind of lucky to survive last game too. If I remember right, they got a good bounce at the end of the game. I think I saw that. I'm trying to think exactly what happened.
Well, yeah, and their best player fouled out too.
That's right. And then they missed free throws to tie it.
Missed the free throws to tie it.
82% missed his free throws. The 48% goes back the other way and makes 4. That's right.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I knew something weird happened there. We have a tie game in Iowa City.
Holy shit.
But no, I think Arizona's just too good again. They looked, in the second half at least, looked phenomenal versus who was
Dayton.
Texas. Dayton, that's right. Yeah, first half were a little sluggish. Second half, they just kind of took over in the first 5 to 6 minutes and then just kind of coasted from there. Give me the Caleb Love hate game.
No, I'm with you guys to round out the West. It's pretty simple. I think, like you said, Dylan, Carolina and Alabama, it's going to be the first to 100. But Carolina as a team is a little more willing to play some defense, and they'll get some stops and they'll slow Alabama down. So I think the Heels pull away with about 12 minutes left in this game, and then God, when Arizona is normally a team you can't trust, but when they're on, guys, they're hard to not like, and I think Clemson's magic is going to run out a little bit, even though everyone was crapping on the ACC before this tournament. Clemson they'll fight and make it interesting, but Arizona's going to get the win.
Yep, and to the Elite Eight matchup for a Final Four berth on the line, UNC versus Arizona. I think that same thing. I think Arizona is very, very streaky, and I think if you get in their face a little bit, I think they seem to get a little bit timid. I think that streakiness, I think they're going to play a really good game against Clemson, and that's going to be their one good game that they play. I think they're going to use it on that one, and I think that Carolina in the end is just going to be a little bit too much. They are senior laden. They are a veteran group that have gotten solid contributions from freshmen throughout the year. So give me the Tar Heels to make their second Final Four appearance in 3 years.
I'm going with Caleb Love, whatever. The whole team probably hates him for transferring over there, but hey, he got the bag, and now he gets to kick them out of the tournament. So, perfect world for Caleb Love. Awful ending for North Carolina's season.
This might be the second best Elite Eight matchup of the weekend. Connecticut, Illinois is by far going to be the best. I picked Carolina. I live in a Carolina house, and I think Caleb Love can sometimes be too emotional. He's too much of a streaky shooter. He's going to get cold in this game. He's going to hurt the Wildcats. And give me the Heels in the Final Four.
All right, and then let's go over to the South region. We've Houston versus Duke and NC State and versus Marquette here, and Houston versus Duke. Now Houston didn't play their best game, got into foul trouble early against Texas A&M. Survive and advance is the motto, and Duke rolled by. Didn't play their best game against Vermont. Shot the lights out against Duke. Houston's not going to let that happen. They are going to get physical. They're going to jump in, and Duke, in their classic, preppy, pretty boy fashion, they aren't going to handle the physicality of Houston well. As long as the refs, which is very fearful of, because it's Duke in the NCAA tournament, that Duke is going to get all the calls. They're like, oh, you can't be too tough on the Duke boys. But I think Houston is still there. I don't think Duke is going to shoot the lights out like they did against James Madison. I think Houston, their defense is too good. Offensively, they're going to be good enough. I like Houston to advance to the Elite Eight. And then in the other match, Sweet 16 matchup is NC State versus Marquette. Marquette is going to go up and down the court. I don't know if DJ Burns is going to be able to handle it and keep up with them. I think NC State, they've had a good run. They caught lightning in a bottle, but I don't think they have the defensive prowess to hang with Marquette. And I like the Golden Eagles to take on Houston in the Elite Eight in the South in Dallas.
I'm right with you. I just don't think the Duke guards are going to handle the pressure well. Too good defensively, Houston is. They're not going to allow them to shoot like they did versus James Madison. Like, I guess kind of similar defenses that they run between James Madison and Houston, but James Madison just couldn't. They gave up so many open threes. That's not going to happen with Houston. They're going to force Duke players' hands. They're going to force turnovers, and they're going to get runouts and get out in transition. NC State Marquette, I just don't see how NC State is going to hang with them. They are uber athletic. DJ Burns is, let's just say, the far opposite of uber athletic. He just loves his eating out. That's what DJ Burns likes.
He also has his own vending machines that he business.
He's I've never seen a player quite like him, to be honest. Actually, very good at basketball, but looks like he's like a double wide. He's just freaking huge. I think Marquette wins actually relatively easily.
I mean, yeah, everything I had to say, Ethan already said for me.
You're welcome.
I think Houston just athletically is going to get in Duke's face, and Duke's not going to shoot 50% from three again. And I think the defense, the physical style that Houston plays with, is going to get to Filipowski, and I think he's going to have a couple early fouls. Filipowski will get in some foul trouble. Duke is in trouble without him. The Cougars advance, and I don't think this Marquette NC State game is going to be that good. I think the Magic, the clock has struck midnight for the Wolfpack. This Marquette team is just too athletic for them. Houston, Marquette in the Elite Eight.
All right, and we both of us have Houston Marquette, not Houston Kentucky. And then in the end, both very good defensive teams. It's going to be a matter of who's going to be able to break through. I think it's going to be whichever team is going to make that late run. And I think Houston is going to be the team that makes that late run. I think they have enough scoring offensively to get past Marquette. I like Houston to advance to the Final Four.
I kind of want to pick Marquette just to pick someone different because I feel like we've had all the same picks so far, basically. But I just think Houston's too good. I can't remember who I had them losing to initially, but
Probably Kentucky.
I think it was Kentucky, and I don't think there's a team that's athletic enough that can score.
Or did you have Vermont?
No, you had Vermont.
I had Houston losing to Vermont, but I feel like Ethan may have picked like James Madison or Vermont to make it.
No, I wouldn't have picked them over Houston. No, that's just stupid. Sorry, Dylan. I mean, my bracket sucks. That just sounds stupid. But sorry, my opinion's pretty irrelevant here. I shouldn't be talking. But I think Houston wins and they advance to is it New Orleans this year?
Phoenix.
That's right, Phoenix.
Well, technically Glendale.
Oh, duh.
Duh. How could we forget about that?
Don't be that guy.
We said earlier you can't trust the Shaka Smart team. Well, I'm going to trust Calvin Sampson over him. Houston to the Final Four again when it comes down to two tight teams. Hey, it's Mr. Boone. Give me the better coach in this game. Give me the Cougs.
All right, and let's go down to the best region, the Midwest, because the Midwest is the best. Purdue versus Gonzaga. In a year that people were saying that Gonzaga was going to be a bubble team, all they've done is breeze through to the Sweet 16 without really even breaking a sweat. They absolutely dominated McNeese State, and the game, it was close at halftime between them and Kansas. Gonzaga just pulled away from them. This team is playing really well. But in the end, against Purdue, same thing is, I don't think there's anybody on Purdue who can match up with Zach Edey. And
you mean Gonzaga?
You don't play yourself.
Yeah, Gonzaga isn't gonna. I don't think anybody can match up with Edey unless they can find a way to get him into foul trouble early. But I think all officials have a rule that they don't call fouls on Zach Edey. If he gets touched, they call a foul on whoever was guarding him.
He's like the ozone, You just don't touch him.
This Purdue team, they're not a fun team to watch at all, but they just find ways to win. And it sounds like the Purdue fan base is very, very hostile when you bring up the fact that they aren't a fun team to watch, because I don't think I'm the only one. I definitely know I am not the only one that says that they are not a fun team to watch, because it's Zach Edey and he's 7'4". But I think Purdue rolls, and Creighton, Tennessee, probably of the Sweet 16 games, probably the second best. Actually, I might say this is the first best. best matchup of the Sweet 16. Creighton versus Tennessee.
First best? You mean best?
Yeah, first best. So
Who the hell says first best?
You're the first.
I do. And, we got Baylor Shireman versus Dalton Connect. Let me talk. Shut up. I'll mute both of you.
Do it.
Do it.
Okay.
You're talking to yourself. What a lame podcast.
That's okay. I like hearing the sound of my own voice. Yep. Can't hear you guys. What? But anyways, Tennessee versus Creighton here. A battle of a couple of Dakota boys. Creighton versus Connect versus Baylor Shireman. Tennessee was lucky to escape, and every other year they lose to Texas.
Hey, we're unmuted.
But they found a way to win. Dalton Connect didn't have a great game, but was still able to affect the game, hit a couple of shots when he needed to. Tennessee advances. Oregon versus Creighton, one of the best games of the opening weekend, was actually in my list of games, but ended up not just falling short. But in the end, I think Tennessee's just going to be a little bit too much, and I like the Vols to advance, setting up a Purdue versus Tennessee matchup.
Balls.
Gonzaga-Purdue game for me is so intriguing. You could argue Purdue just played the best overall game in the NCAA tournament so far. A 39-point win. I don't care who you're playing. That's pretty freaking impressive. And then Gonzaga probably just put the best overall half together to beat Kansas. Like, that was incredible. They were absolutely dominant. Like Grant, or who said it? Like, Dylan, you said they coasted. Like, it was effortless. Like actually, I was listening to it on the radio, and it's just like every time was a giant play for Gonzaga, and then it's like Kansas. Oh, they turn it over. Oh, missed shot. One and done. Like, just constant Gonzaga. It's all it was.
It would help if Kansas's coach was focused on this year, too.
Yeah. I kind of want to pick Gonzaga just because I want Purdue to lose. I don't really like them. But if Brendan Smith plays like he has, like, I don't think Gonzaga can win. He moves the ball. He gets the ball to Edey in good spots. I can't say the other guys do that as much. And he finds him. Like, there was one play, Edey was wide open under the hoop, and the guy in the wings just sitting there holding the ball, looking around, passes it to Braden Smith, and then boom, right there. Sees him right away. It's just he sees things a lot of the other guards don't. So if he's healthy, I think they win that game and move on. Creighton, Tennessee. My head probably is telling me to pick Tennessee. Their football stadium is beautiful, by the way. Drove by it when we were going up to the cabin last weekend. But I picked Creighton to start. I can't turn away from that now, just like I picked with Illinois. We're going with the offense. Creighton, Baylor Shireman. He's going to make all the South Dakota State fans that probably despise him very proud. And they're going to have a Jackrabbit playing in the final, or the Elite Eight, I should say.
Yeah, guys, this isn't the same Gonzaga team. And Edey has been so dominant to start this tournament. I just don't know if anyone on Gonzaga can stop him. And I think that's going to be the difference maker. He's just been so dominant, and he's so good. I'm with you, Ethan. I don't like Purdue. Like, one bit at all. But I just think this matchup favors them, and I think they beat Gonzaga pretty easy. Because this just isn't the same Gonzaga team that we've seen in years past. And, Tennessee, with their kind of just like what I said, with their lack of offense compared to like what Iowa State has, you can't trust them. They're not going to score 50 points in this game like they did against Texas and win. It's just not going to happen. And I think Creighton got a wake-up call in that second half against Oregon. They looked awful. But you know what? They pulled it through and made some plays when they needed to. Sure, Oregon missed some foul shots, but hey, that's not their problem. So I think Creighton advances to play Purdue in the Elite Eight.
All right. And Purdue versus Tennessee for me. And same thing. I don't know if Tennessee has anybody who can match up with Zach Edey. And I said at the beginning of the year that Purdue was going to make the Final Four. And I similar to you, Ethan, is I don't want to see it, but since I already picked Purdue to go to the Final Four, I'm sticking with the Boilermakers. They beat Tennessee. Give me a Houston versus Purdue matchup in the Final Four.
All right, Purdue Creighton. Creighton actually does have a guy to an extent, not as tall as Edie, but he's a defensive wizard, and he's over 7 feet. I know that. Kalkbrenner, I think his name is. I don't even know how to say it. But
Paul Brenner or whatever.
Some tall white guy that can bang down low with probably has like a 10-foot wingspan. It looks like I watched him on TV. But I think they can go down low, and I think they can beat them. Their guards might even be maybe not better, but they're on the same page for sure as Braden Smith. Shireman on the wing is better than Lance Jones, or whatever the hell his name is, number 55 for Purdue. I think this is a game Creighton can absolutely win. I'm not just picking them by heart. This is one I actually legitimately think they will advance to the Final Four.
All right, Creighton, after falling short, they get back, or they get there for the first time.
Ethan, I'm with you. I think that number 11 for Creighton, something like that. He got punked by Dante from Oregon on Saturday. But that dude is just an absolute physical specimen who looked like he wanted to hurt. Who wanted to hurt someone. Zach Edey does not want to go out and does not want to hurt people, and that was his wake-up call. That'll do it. That was Creighton's wake-up call, and I really like their athlete. Is it Jackson, number 23, for Creighton. I think he's going to make his own shot. He's going to be the difference offensively. Alexander, that's the guy. I think he's going to be the difference maker in this game. And Creighton's offense is going to be too much. You can't trust Purdue in March. So give me the Blue Jays in the Final Four.
All right. So then that wraps up here I've finally got my ESPN app to work so I can watch the end of this Iowa West Virginia game as the 45 seconds left. Caitlin Clark at the line makes the free throw. Probably ruining it for you guys. Or am I?
Yes, you did.
Okay. Fine. It's all right. I won't talk. But we'll be back next week to recap our predictions. Are sure to go wrong, so pick whatever we didn't pick, and let's wrap the show up here with Curveball of the Week. And I have it, and I don't know how I came up with this, but this isn't a great question, but the best I could do is what is something that isn't water and non-alcoholic drink that you guys go to that gets you through your day, or something that you just enjoy throwing back from time to time? And Grant, you can't say Advocare Spark powder.
That's technically water.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Definitely Celsius. That's my go-to for sure.
Which flavor?
We get the variety pack from Costco. It has it's like a grape one, tropical something, and then a peach. Peach is probably my favorite in the pack, but God, what was one I had over the weekend that was really good? Strawberry guava, maybe? I think we just buy them sometimes. Like if we're at a store, we see somebody liked it, a good deal, we'll just buy singles. But strawberry guava is really good too.
Oh, that one got discontinued in our area. We don't carry that one no more.
Good one.
Well, that's just a shame. For me, guys, I kind of like every morning for breakfast I have this. It's something simple, but it's just a glass of Fairlife chocolate milk.
Okay.
It just hits the spot. Like I said, it's kind of a daily routine. I have it with breakfast. It's one of those things that I can't miss. And it's just also delicious. It tastes super good. If I wanted to, I could probably drink a whole container in a day. My stomach wouldn't be feeling too good afterwards, but it's that good where I could drink the whole 52 ounce or 59 ounces, whatever it is. So, with that being said, man, give me some Fairlife chocolate milk.
You got a little bit of Jim Harbaugh in you. I like that. He likes his milk. But mine, it would have to be it'd have to be just a classic Diet Dew. Usually have it right after lunch, a little bit of pick me up after I eat, and just a little bit of God's nectar that gets you through through whatever the afternoon may bring you. So Diet Dew is my go-to. But that wraps up the Three Guys Talking Ball podcast here for episode 124. We'll have the segments of the show out on Friday. We will be posting clips of the show. Go follow, like, subscribe, rate, review 3GTB podcast, Three Guys Talking Ball podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe, and we will talk to you next time.